have a professor in Spain.
Buli mesina buli no mujamutira sabuli memwaka na bamaya lingo amuonera byakulia
buli babana masone kumukunda ta kukonda no kana kana abana bano akasome bari
Chingana kaniche
kuna mara wakana kana luka aline your brain is broken.
West TV, tazama ilivyo.
The Morning Scoop is sponsored by JFC Munene College of Health Sciences.
Good morning, dear viewer. This is the Morning Scoop. This is where it begins. This is where we talk about anything before it's talked about elsewhere. The Morning Scoop comes to you every Tuesday morning, and today I'm so glad to be joined by Wakili Dennis Wanyama Mutaki Wanyama Mutaki. You see, in the whole region of Western, we keep on seeing the same things. We keep on seeing the same problems. We keep on grappling with the same issues. And we keep on having the same approach to changing lives. And by the end of the day, the same old story. We could change monkeys, but the forest is the same. Or we could change the forest, but the monkeys are the same. So this has brought in a question. Do we have a problem with our leadership? And when you talk about leadership, are we talking about those we elected, or we're talking about ourselves? Because at some point we may start looking at whom can we point our fingers to blame for the problems, yet we are there, we are watching, we are condoning, we are taking part of the proceeds of the same problems our people are going through. So that's what we're going to look at. That's what we're going to talk about with Wakili. I'm so glad. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. How are you?
I'm very well.
How is Kitale?
Kitale is fine.
Yes.
We are preparing for the planting season. So I think a lot of activities are going on right now.
They keep on saying that Trans Nzoia is the brain basket. It's not a grain basket of the country.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is. But I come from somewhere where we plant more maize than Trans Nzoia. So.
And it's a basket that is torn on the bottom.
Oh, it's torn. Yes. Yeah. That is huge. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. I'm so glad to find time to join us.
Thank you.
And this morning we want to look at the deficit, the failed promise.
Yes.
You see, our people are grappling with life. Every person you meet, they're struggling with some sort of issue.
Yes.
In all sectors of our life. And there is no clear pathway towards getting us out of these issues.
Yes.
We may want to look at what is happening and what can we do to come out of it. But before we do that, there's a proverb. A bad leader is like a hard rain that whose waters destroy crops. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Yes.
How do you understand that proverb? And just try to elaborate for us.
Okay. I will look at it as a proverb which try to suggest that when it comes to leadership, it has to be measured, structured, accountable, and in that sense, if you overdo leadership in a manner that does not benefit the people whom you're leading, you are likely to harm them more than lead them. So that's to an extent how I understand the proverb that you've just said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You see, the issues that we are looking at. You see, as a community.
Yes.
You see, all the way from Turkana to South Nyanza, this region, we are related, whether you like it or not, in one way or another. But then we go through the same problems, and I think that is the biggest unifying factor. That we share the same issues, we grapple with the same problems. When it's raining hard on us. When it's hunger on everyone. When we are lacking food, everyone in the region does not have food. So that is, we are related in all ways.
Exactly.
How do we characterize the region vis-a-vis the leadership that we have?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. Western Province has had a very serious problem with the leadership for a very long time. We tend to perceive leadership in a manner that is actually away from what actually leadership is. You will see so many people who aspire to become leaders in the country. They pretty much look at it as a job they are going to look for. And when they get there, they look at it as a way of earning for themselves what they are looking for. So that for a very long time, we've had a serious gap that our people have been lagging behind. You have the recent statistic of the national average of poverty, and while in other areas it is going down, we are since either staying at the same level or even now going up the national average. So it is an indicator that there is something that is wrong. We hear the same song day in, day out of the things that we want to be led on, like the economic agenda of the region and everything. And it's the same song year in, year out. Open this factory, give us these bonuses in terms of sugar and everything. So it's the same song year in, year out. And I think it is time for us to reflect deeply on what we need in terms of the leadership and in terms of what we want economically and everything else.
As you say that, I wonder, what do we really need as a region? Do we need someone to give us money? Or we need someone to give us what? Because money, you give me money, I'll buy a suit.
Yes.
Will that have uplifted my quality of life? So what do we really need? And what is there what is it there for us to look at, to know that if we put our energy here, our story will change?
Exactly. That's a very good question, because it actually reminds me of a political rally where I think there were very many leaders from Western Province, and one of the speakers was actually His Excellency Dr. Mkhiza Kitui, and he stood up and suggested to the crowd that let's move away from planting maize and everything, and let's focus on let's try things like pepper, like basically suggesting that we should move from the extensive agriculture that we are used to, and let's move to intensive agriculture. And the crowd actually did not receive it well.
Because they thought he's trying to overwork them.
Yes. How? And even suggesting, what are we going to feed on pilipili? So and then you understand that we are in a region where we've been taught for almost 50 years that farming is when you have 50 acres, 100 acres, 1,000 acres. And that same land is actually shrinking day in, day out. How do we capitalize on the arrival opportunities to utilize the limited resources of land right now? And that conversation is not with our leaders. They are quiet. They come and sing the narrative of the current national regime. They don't customize the national agenda to to suit our specific needs. So I'm looking at it that direction. It is a whole revolution that we need to shift the agenda of Western Kenya to the level that its potential is, and we progress that way.
You see, what's interesting is the way you put it. When we talk about the leadership, it's not paying attention. Whom do we look at? Because the elected ones, the appointed ones, the cronies, as in, whom are we supposed to look up to? Or ourselves? Because they are all there. We have the provincial administration led by the county commissioner, actually regional commissioner. In the whole region, we have a regional commissioner.
Yes.
Okay? They are advancing the government agenda.
Yeah.
We have the elected leaders who are advancing the government agenda. Now, we have the appointed ones advancing the government agenda. We have the civil society advancing the government agenda.
Yes.
Who is going to advance our agenda?
It's a very good question, and actually I look at it starting with the idea that the constitution that we really celebrated for the last 15 years has technically given us, all of us, a leadership aspect. Like we all of us have an obligation to contribute to the well-being of our society, so that we have things that will be pushed to our leaders whom we elect, and when those leaders get there, they are given a specific obligation to educate us on what is the unifying agenda that we need to have as a region.
Yes.
You will be so shocked to understand that the region that we are calling Western Region is actually the same landmass as the country of Israel. So that now you ask yourself, this country that is called Israel, and it's the same landmass as Western Kenya, what are they doing differently in a desert that we are not doing? Then you realize our leaders will get there, and the first thing they will continue singing is sugarcane. We need the prices up. You come to the same region, there's nowhere to farm even the same sugarcane. So it is a whole matrix of things whereby we need our leaders to be actually the people to carry our agenda. We need us as the citizenry to make them to be accountable, so that now when they are not doing what they are supposed to do, we know that now we can kick in the legal structures that are there, either to oust them out, or we have now like a very informed citizenry that can say that you're not talking about the Western Kenya that we know, you're talking about something else. It's for your own benefit.
Yes.
So we want change. So I look at leadership as a collective of all of us, and we have a piece of obligation to contribute to that leadership structure. But now I will say that in that matrix we seem actually with the GNZ that we have seen, with the kind of demos that we have seen all over the country.
Yes.
Maybe the citizens are actually taking up their roles much faster than our leadership. So I'll see a very huge gap on how to merge the two.
You see, when we talk about elected leadership, we are actually looking at the numbers that are elected. Okay. Then we are looking at the masses that elected these people. At what point do these people stop? At what point do they stop focusing on the issues that affect these people? Or do they even pay attention to them, apart from talking about it? Because when they're coming for votes, they tell us how they're going to change our story. All they need is that vote. We are so believing. These are very religious community. We are so Christians or Muslims. We believe. Then we give them our vote. No sooner we finish than they disappear.
Exactly.
So, question is, do they ever even care about what we need as a community, even when they are looking for these votes, or it's just what we call lip service?
Exactly. I would actually agree with it being actually just lip service, because ideally you have a president, maybe he has planned for a trip in Western Kenya once a year, or once even in the entire term. And then at that particular time when we are having him around, we expect to have these leaders who will actually now tell the president that, look here, you are suggesting an economic activity of sugarcane farming to all of us. If we do the mathematics, it is not taking us way above the poverty line. And we have this other opportunity. The same acre of land that you are telling us to farm for you to give us 5,000 per ton, it is the same acre I can farm cabbages and get way much. What is this thing that you really insist that the only time you come here you talk about it day in day out? And I look at it as now that which now the politicians are not really assisting. They have not understood our problem, and that is why you ask any politician, how much sugar cane do we produce as Western Kenya? No one will have that data. You ask them how much are we producing in terms of coffee in the entire region, they will not have that specific. And once you lack that, when the government is allocating money, for example, to revamp coffee in Western Kenya, to revamp sugarcane farming, what data are they working with? It is basically now data that is in the mind of a politician, whom now for them, they have gone to Nairobi to become to have a job, yeah, they're a career politician, yeah. So that now time out they will hold the party structures, they will hold everything, and we just hear that 50 years has passed. Western Kenya is in the same state that it was 50 years ago. Yeah, so it is a terrible state that we're in. Yeah.
By the way, you just mentioned something. When they say that we want 1 billion to help Nzoia.
Yes.
Is it scientific or?
Very interesting.
We want 50 million to help us here. As in, what informs that figure? Because I see, we've been told about even how much we need to revive tobacco industry.
Yes.
Is it scientific? Or it's something that is cooked up on someone's dinner table?
Exactly.
And then they start using it as a good political conversation to make, to attract the interest of the locals.
Exactly.
You see, there is a quote somewhere, I think it's from a movie.
Yes.
Someone says, people drink sand and others drink water. But then he's saying, those who drink sand will drink sand. Those who will drink water will drink water because they don't know the difference.
Exactly.
Do we as a community know what we want? That's the very first question I asked you. Do we know? Where is our focus? Is our focus our own? Or we've been given a different focus from what really we want to focus on?
Yeah, exactly. And that again, I will go back to what I mentioned earlier, that it's actually not our focus as the citizenry of Western Kenya, but I will look at it as actually the selfish focus of the few leaders that we have in the region. Because I look at a factory like Pan Paper. It was a very good factory for a very long time.
Yes.
It employed so many people. It was economically viable to have it around. But it got to a point where even the investors themselves, they saw that technology is moving, people are going paperless and everything. So we don't have that market as such. We are having our nearby countries who are also opening up similar factories. So the competition is actually there. So we are thinking of winding up the activities. And now you have a leader who will come forward and start, pumping emotion to our people, saying that we need to revamp Pan Paper. And then you ask yourself, why should we revamp Pan Paper, and yet we barely have a maize miller in the entire region? every maize that we harvest, we take it to Thika, they mill, they package, and they return to us in supermarkets, and we buy, and we continue with life. So it's such a conversation is what, for me, as someone from also Western Kenya, I expect from our leaders. Let them be so candid, because at the end of the day, we will when you hear you as a Mheshimiwa being added to our WhatsApp message to contribute someone's school fees, it is because of your own making. Initially, when you had the opportunity of empowering your people, you missed that opportunity. Yes. So when now they end up now adding you 100 WhatsApp group to contribute to a medical bill of someone, it is your own making. So that is where, for me, I tend to look at our leadership that we have, and so at the end of the day is what they will come with the national leaders, and they will promise them that, for me, I've managed to create a euphoria in this region. They are singing my name, so I want a cabinet seat. I want 10.
It is selfish.
Selfish.
Whatever they do, they want to use it as a bargaining a reason.
Exactly.
To enrich themselves, to benefit themselves.
Exactly.
But then, So it means they have failed.
Yes.
They have failed the leadership.
True. Yeah.
So why are we keeping them there? As in, do we have what it takes to call these guys to order?
Yeah.
Do we?
The law is there, the structures are there.
Yes.
But now for example, you'll go to a county in Western Kenya, you'll hear of corruption and everything. But so there's a law to govern the issues of corruption. When you as a citizenry, you attempt to invoke it, the next thing you'll hear stories of abduction. The next thing you'll hear stories of, you've been moved from Ministry A to B, which has one department in the entire country. So and then you realize that we us as a citizenry, we made a mistake to put these incompetent leaders in the seats. They went there with their selfish interest. They have found a mechanism to manipulate us. They think that if they managed, for example, to fully operationalize the universal health care.
Yes.
Our dependency on them and us giving them that bargaining power will not be there. Because I'm actually thinking when we get to a place where the whole country will be comfortable in terms of the basics.
Yes.
You will rarely see that we are having Tharaka Nithi coming as a block.
Yes.
It will be pretty much be an even distribution of votes countrywide. So Raila in Turkana will almost get the same votes. Ruto in Nyanza will also almost get the same votes, because now it is about issues, and now in Kenya the issues are very slim, so the margin also in voting should be very slim. So when you hear discrepancy that it's Raila 100% and Ruto 0%, there is a problem. Yeah.
There is you see, when I look at the leadership and the passion they have, actually these guys are not ineffective. They're very effective.
Yes.
In misleading.
Yes. Very true. Yeah.
Because you just talked about education and healthcare. As a community where we are, you see, our fathers did a lot to send us to school.
Yes.
They didn't have anyone to help them.
Exactly.
You see?
Yeah.
We are the ones who are there. Why are we finding it very hard to just invest in education for our children?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who started to say this idea that someone can help you?
Yes.
Who started this idea?
Yeah.
When did it begin? As in, because that is where the problem is. You will miss out to take your child to school, because you are using a specific skewed excuse.
Exactly.
That I don't have help. I'm waiting for Mheshimiwa, or I'm waiting for help.
Yeah.
Is that really African?
I think it is African in the context of the African leaders that we have, and in this context, the Western leaders that we have. Because now, it's actually a very interesting question. Because now you sit there and you wonder. The Constitution is very clear on the separation of powers and everything. You ask yourself a simple question: why, for example, are politicians so keen in retaining bursaries? Or now the county executives also having a similar version of their own bursaries. And then you discover it is only when you make education slightly expensive and not affordable to your people is when now you'll dangle the bursaries and say that if you vote for me, you'll bring a list of all your children and will educate them. So it is actually a deliberate structure that our leaders have devised to find a way of actually manipulating us as voters. So they will say that if it is that school, if you want a story classroom for your region, vote for me. I come from your region. I'll make sure you'll have that. And it's not about because the basic way that we'll expect a leader to do is to just map the entire constituency and know that this particular region has so many schools. I will do this school in this particular region. But you have, if you have voted for one particular member of parliament from a particular side of the constituency, you're likely to have 10 of the 12 schools in that constituency in that particular area. And then you wonder what happens to that small kid in the other side of the constituency who is schooling in a mud classroom with one teacher who's teaching chemistry and everything. So it for it has become a mechanism of our leaders in Western to attempt and use it as a way of now, you know, controlling us as the masses, yeah?
Because they know what we want. And they know how passionately we want this. But for them to get votes, they now regulate how we should want what we want.
Exactly. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they make it to be as if it is through their own manifestos and agendas is what we, because something like universal healthcare, I don't think it should be a conversation of any politician. It should be a universal conversation of the entire country, that every Kenyan has a right to health. So why are you saying she, shu, you know?
Whatever.
Yeah.
You see, today as we speak, clinical officers are on strike. They started now the real strike. Wacha ile walikuwa wameanza. Now this is the real one. And what are they asking? The same questions we keep on asking. Why don't we, as in, this is our life. It's our health.
Yes.
You see, it is our nation. Why do we keep on asking questions when someone should just, as in, if I can borrow what's happening in the US, an executive order. An executive order will remove all these things. Why do we keep on asking for the same things?
Exactly.
And no one is paying attention.
Exactly. And I pity actually the health sector, because there's actually more that is coming, because if you look at part of the silent complaints of the clinical officers, they seem to suggest that you've devised a sort of healthcare system in the country where you are burdening the level 1, 2, 3 facilities.
Yes.
And
using work
for referral up there. So that it is them who are complaining that you are paying us a very little salary in terms of salaries, and we are the ones who will be treating from that person with asthma, malaria and everything, those small diseases that can be treated by level 1, 2, 3. And it's only when, for example, I have a complication of that requires like cesarean, is when I refer to a level 4, 5, 6. And meaning that all these people that you've recently given them salaries, they are just doctors who are swinging on their chairs, waiting for one case in a month for cesarean, for them to conduct a cesarean surgery, and then they burden everyone who's down there. And again, this is most of these now dispensaries and level 2, 3 facilities. They're actually the remotest of the places. Most of these level 5, 6 are now in the cities, the likes of Kenyatta Hospital. So I'm looking at a situation where they will complain about one thing, and once we face the full whole of the universal healthcare system that is coming, we are likely to experience more strikes if we don't actually now have this conversation that we are saying our leaders should give it to us. They should expect.
You see, I've worked in a hospital system, and do you know why private hospitals employ 10 clinical officers and 2 medical officers?
Okay.
Do you know why?
No.
Because clinical officers will make money. They will see 20 patients.
Yes.
When the medical officer will only see 1 or 2. So, if a private hospital want to make money, they will go large on putting pressure on clinical officers. And the government has picked that. They've lumped them into the low cadre hospitals. Of course, they've spread them through even the referrals. Even if you went to a level 4, level 5, the first person to see you will be a clinical officer.
True.
You see? They make money for these institutions. They see patients, a huge number of patients. Okay? That's okay, because they're saving lives.
Sure.
But there's this strange idea that I cannot walk in and walk out outpatient in a level 4 or level 5. That when I go there, I must be looking for a bed to sleep in. Whose idea is that? As in, how skewed can that be? As in, because let me just give you a very bad example. You see, here in Bungoma, the closest dispensary is not in town, and I'm in town. So for me to go to any hospital for a checkup, just I have a headache.
Yeah.
I want a doctor to check me.
So,
I can't go to the district referral here. Because when I go there, they will ask me, where do you come from? I'll say the hardship area.
Yes.
It's called Tongareni.
yes.
Go to Tongareni first. Then come. You see, how did we really do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wakili, did we do this?
Yeah, it was again that when our leaders did not have our vision, did not understand our problems. That is the things that we're likely to face. Because now you can imagine now that is the same person who in Tongareni who is residing in Bungoma, who has been told to, for example, to take out the sheaf cover. He will be told that for that particular condition that you are suffering, it's free. And now, but you ought to start from Tongareni going up. So you rush there, and then they get there. They say because of the referral system that we have incorporated under SHIF, if you come with that headache of yours here, we will not cover you. You will be forced, for example, to pay something, or you'll get there, but because we are having only MOs in county referral. Please sit while you wait for this line of 1,000 people to see that one clinical officer over there. But when the president comes around, they will say, you've done a good work, we want the sugar factory. They're not, those specifics that the citizens are suffering from. Yeah.
Whoa, Wakili.
Yes.
This is, I'm wondering, because our leaders are not paying attention to what we're saying. And last year, when we kept on talking about the finance bill,
yes,
we complained, we raised issues, we hosted guys here who talked about it.
Yeah.
The government kept on grinding forward.
Yeah.
Gen Z's happened. After Gen Z's happened, they seemed to pay attention for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. Then they went back to the same old story.
Yeah.
It's like, whether you like it or not, you have to do this. But before we respond to that, I want us to go to a break.
Okay.
This show is sponsored by JFC, Munene College of Health Sciences. It's a college that you need to take advantage of because they have designed their system in a manner that will equip and retool. It will give you tools and skills to navigate in this life. It will not only give you an ability to be employed, but it will also help you to employ yourself and employ others. One of the most interesting things they do is that they create opportunities. When you're a student in that college, you can be able to be assured that if you want to be employed, there are enough employing agencies that are waiting for you. Just clear, show them the certificate, and from JFC, you'll be given a job straight up. If you want to work in Kenya or outside the country, they'll make sure that you do that. That's why they will require you to have a passport on admission. If you don't have, they will help you acquire one on admission. Opportunities for internship, opportunities for employment, opportunities for attachment in and outside the country is happening at JFC Munene College of Health Sciences. Talk to somebody. 0700-114-115, 0703-114-115. Someone is waiting to talk to you. We'll be back in a bit. This is CKS.
The Morning Scoop is sponsored by JFC Munene College of Health Sciences.
West TV, tazama ilivyo. West TV, tazama ilivyo. West TV, tazama ilivyo. West TV, tazama ilivyo.
Oh my goodness, I have a gallery there, works of art. I've done so much for this country.
Within the next 50, 40 years, 100 years, we shall have a banyole, no mabaluya.
Nokole kazi, notiya nende tsingufu. Nyasaye aleta kumeta ebindu bindi bino byose.
Kunaleta abana befwe abesekhana nabasyani okudekya okubana bima bilayi nende nibadekya banadekya bakhana babamanyire okutulasi paka akulu.
Nebusamye niyo bakangala ni kusikha balingange kuba batulire
becha
namakabisa tetineche namukulira virumbeti namukulira namwako chisendi
nasomia babana almost free. From here, I have a professor in Spain.
Balio balala mubarabara kanajewe ni yohumu yaye kimyandu kyeyi.
Buli mesina buli no mujamutira sabuli memwaka naba mayalingo amungonera byakhulya.
Buli babana masone kumukunda ta. Kukonda no kana kana abana banu khasome bari.
Chingana kaniche.
Unamala wakana kana luka line your brains broke up.
West TV.
Oh my goodness, I have a gallery there, works of art. I've done so much for this country.
Within the next 50, 40 years, 100 years, we shall have Abanyole, no Babaluya.
nokole kazi notiya nende tsingufu nyasaye aletsa khumeta ebindu bindi bino byosi
khunaleta abana befwe abesikhana nabasyani okhudekhya okhuba nebima bilayi nende nebadekhya banadekhya bakhana babamanyile okhutulasi paka akulu
Nebusamie niyo bakangala ni kusikha balingange kuba batulire ini becha.
namakabisa tetineche namukulira virumbeti namukulira namwako chisendi
nasomia babana almost free. From here, I have a professor in Spain.
Balio balala mubarabara kanajewe ni yohumu yaye kimyandu kyeyi.
Buli mesina buli no mujamutira sabuli memwaka naba mayalingo amungonera byakhulya.
Buli babana masone kumukunda ta. Kukonda no kana kana abana banu khasome bari.
Chingana kaniche.
Unamala wakana kana luka line your brains broke up.
West TV, tazama ilivyo.
The Morning Scoop is sponsored by JFC Munene College of Health Sciences.
We agree that for a community to change, leadership must lead the change. But if the present, so in quotes, leadership, meaning those we elected, that's where the focus is. Chiefs, sub-chiefs, we don't really look at them because they don't come promising, elect me, I'll do this. No. They actually get into office to advance the government agenda, to listen to us on behalf of the president, which is okay. We have no problem with that, we have no quarrels. Issue is, the ones who come promising, that's where our focus is. You came, you said, I'll do this. Now, it's so much time has passed since you got into office, and it's more of the same. Okay? This makes it very difficult for us to understand. Is there any other alternative form of leadership we should be able to look at to help this community to come out of these issues we are struggling with? Poverty is very high in the region. I was reading a report yesterday, actually last night, about the latest statistics on poverty. In 2021 we were at 38%. Now we are 53% poverty levels in Western Kenya. Unemployment is on the roof. Now, do we have any other alternative leadership we can be able to look at to help the community come out of this? Or it is the same old story of we wait for governor and MP and senator and all those electables?
It is so true. I think we need actually to change our leadership and actually also our leadership approach, because I look at our brothers in the central Kenya. Whenever we have a national election, like a general election after every 5 years, you can almost hear that they will vote based on a tax regime. They will vote based on the opportunities their people are being given. They will vote on how the government is restricting imports and exports. So they're basically, without even noticing, they're issue-based. But in Western Kenya, we are almost discussing personalities. It is about Mheshimiwa this versus Mheshimiwa that. And whenever we try to attempt to go to the issues, we actually go to talk about issues that maybe are outdated or they don't have value to.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will imagine that going forward, we need. It's call it a soft revolution. We don't need to go to the street to make it a revolution. It's just a revolution that we go here and we say, you are a governor, you are promising that you will construct an industrial park. What are you going to put in that industrial park? Yet you are allowing trucks to leave our region on a daily basis, taking maize to Thika. So at the end of the day, what will you utilize this industrial park? Would rather than divert this money to, for example, ECD, we should not now concentrate it in an industrial park that will just be there as a white elephant for 10, 30 years, up and until, for example, a governor will come and say, I now intend to say that if you drive a truck inside Western region to come and collect maize to take it to another region, we are going to levy some cess on you so that to discourage that extractive economics.
Yes.
So and from that you have a basis of having a very constructive kind of arrangement between the voters and the leaders, where now they know that if they go there and the only thing they will do, for example, is do like beautification of our county, we may not need that as at now. We need to know how the teacher student ratio in the ECDs. We need to know as a region, are we incorporating things like the new Horticulture Act, where we are trying to see if we can uplift the citizenry in terms of intensive, very structured and regulated kind of farming, so that when you are able to harvest your now the popular hash avocado, you are able to fly to UK and see your same avocado in a in a supermarket there.
Yes.
This conversation we are not hearing. It may come, and it may come only during the 5th year when you are voting again, and then disappear for the next.
You see, when you say that, it bothers me. Let me tell you why it bothers me. An economy of a region is tied to infrastructure. You are operating from Kitale. Do you know that you are 100 times better off than here? Why? Because if you want to dash to Bungoma, you will go to that airport and fly out to that small chartered plane or whatever, that routine flight that comes to Kitale.
Yes.
Do you know that? If I'm here and I want to fly to Nairobi, I have no choice. Go to Kisumu or Eldoret. Can you see that? So, Kakamega is even worse. You can't go anywhere from Kakamega. If you want to go to anywhere from Kakamega, you have to go to Kisumu first before or Webuye before you go anywhere. Because that thing is in a deep hole somewhere. Now, when you're in Busia, you are, as in, no one is thinking about you because they are trying to imagine that you are likely going to work with Uganda more than Kenya. You see, there is this bad narratives about our community. Our leaders don't want us to focus on that. And it must be for a very good reason. Why do you think they don't want us to know the truth? Decent infrastructure development is what will bring about decent economic uplifting. The president mentioned the two things recently when he was around. He talked about Bungoma gaining the city status. He also talked about dualing Malaba Bungoma Road. It could extend to Webuye. Okay? That's huge. But who is driving that agenda?
Exactly.
The president or Bungoma?
Exactly.
For Bungoma to be a city, we need an international airport. Where do we need it? Not Matulo. That thing is useless.
Exactly.
We need 1,000 acres from Nzoia to give us an international airport. Now, who is supposed to drive that agenda? Is it President Ruto?
It is not.
It doesn't serve him.
Yeah.
It doesn't help him. It is us to do that.
Yeah.
But that's why I was asking. Maybe we need guys like you who are admired on WhatsApp groups.
It's actually very interesting. And you mentioned that so we are easy in terms of flying, and you should know that when I want to now drive from Kitale to Bungoma, if you don't fuel at Kitale or Kimilili, you are likely to come up to past, Sihendua, past Sihendua, then get now at least a decent petrol station. So when I was driving this morning, I was thinking, is this a reflection of the demand of energy, like us as a region?
Yes.
Is it that we are called the bread basket, and that's why I joked about our basket being torn at the bottom.
Yes.
So that now, from Eldoret to, when you're just leaving Eldoret, you're likely to get more fuel stations than from Kitale to Bungoma. And then you wonder, is that a reflection of the demand of energy?
The demand of energy is not there.
It's not there.
You see, our machineries.
Yes.
You see, we use animals to plow our land. We don't need diesel.
Yes. Yeah, and what does that say? It says that we are still in extensive agriculture.
Yes.
We are not shifting to intensive agriculture.
Yes.
Where we need to mechanize, we need to professionalize, so that now, because right now it basically means that if you do avocados in Western region, vis-a-vis someone who's doing avocados in Eldoret, you tend to actually to see that in Eldoret they are doing a professionalized agriculture, which now, when it goes to clearing it for quality assurance for purpose of export, that one of Eldoret is likely to be shifted out.
Because it will be fresh.
Yes. And for us, it's whatever a cow can move with what we used to call sungura, and plow the 1 acre. We do there 2 trees of avocados and make noise that our avocado is not being bought. It's our leaders, because that is under the Horticulture Act. That's the role of the county government. They need to come up with the structures, have those extensive. They call it extensive officers. They come to advise people so that this thing is gradual, and if you don't do it in a gradual way, we lag behind for years and years and years.
You see, you talked about sugar. Sugarcane is been here with us for a while, from the 70s when Zoya came up, and I think much earlier, Mumias.
Yes. And
this has been in the hands of the government. Why is it so important that driving the agenda of this farm should be in the hands of the government? Why not private? And when we talk about private, whom do we talk about? Because the narratives that are usually advanced when you talk about private is the same Indian guys who come and manipulate us. Or maybe if he's a Mzungu, he must be French. Or Germans who will come and use their harshness on our people. Or maybe the Chinese who will come and speak a language you don't understand. Now, question is, when we talk about sugarcane, we have farmers who are doing half an acre to 5-10 acres of sugar. It's all over the place. That's why United Farm came up, because plantations came up in Trans Nzoia, guys doing thousands of acres of sugar. Look at the maturity period and the life of that plant. I see guys harvesting 3 times from a plantation. Then they change the seed. Perfect, because it's working for them. But is that all we have? Why is it replacing maize farms? Maize farms take 6 months, we harvest. Then we prepare the farm again for the next season. Markups are fairly not bad if you're doing large maize farming. Okay? But then sugarcane came and beat this. With that 5,000 you're talking about, it beat the income from maize. It's okay. Look at the guys who are doing the fresh produce, they were saying. They don't need much effort. Yet the income is 600 times.
Yes.
So is it our culture that we are told if you stop planting these, you'll not have food?
Yeah.
The food that we don't have in the second month after harvest, we are buying from the market. Or is it in our culture? Is it in our thinking? And who can help us come out of that?
Yeah, exactly. I have a very good question, because you remember when you mentioned about the poverty index in the region. I also came across now actually that now the figure that the government uses to define that. And it was basically suggesting that anyone in the rural area who earns about 4,800 in a month, and so if you earn less than that, you're actually below the poverty line. So I kept on asking myself, now, right now, since most of us are having 1 or 2 acres that we want to farm the same sugarcane, that is sugarcane that will now get to the 18th month for you to harvest, and whatever you come as the net output from it, it's about 150,000, for example, and you divide that times 18. You actually, when I see now people screaming about sugarcane, you're actually calling that sugarcane farmer as your number one identified poor person, because now if you remove all the things around it, harvesting inputs, you'll end up with about 5,000 shillings per month. If you distribute it from for 18 months, it comes to about the same 5,000 per month. That is, you're basically saying a farmer who's doing 2 acres that you're encouraging him, you're saying you have increased it to 5,000 a ton. At the end of the day, that is just someone who's oscillating around the poverty line. So that how do we structure our leadership in the region to actually now direct our people, saying that let's diversify. If you are having your neighbor who's done 10 acres of sugarcane, and it's completely, the entire land is not planting anything else. Be wise as a neighbor, for example, to look at the mboga that you will sell to the same neighbor for the next 18 months. So those aspects is the kind of conversation that we are not getting at all from our leaders. They have an opportunity to attract attention when they are talking. We expect them now to be releasing to the citizenry such very detailed, practical, and empowering information. But they are not. They will talk about AU. They will talk about things that are us at the end of the day when we go back home. AU does not add a shilling on your table, and you wonder now, you've taken airtime to talk about AU, and there is a farmer there who's actually even struggling to understand, what is this alternative seed that I need to use for me to increase the yielding? What is this mechanization that I need to do? Can I incorporate in the next season irrigation for me to increase the output per acre, so that at least at the end of the day, when I divide the income, I'm able to say that I'm living like double above the poverty line. But what are we hearing? It is same story day in, day out.
Let's end with are there legal avenues this community can explore to try to not force but communicate to the leaders? And I want you to be careful when you talk about leaders, because whom are you talking about?
Exactly. First of all, I will categorize. I mean, concentrate heavily on those who are elected and appointed, and I'm just thinking that for starters, all of us now, we just need to know that under the Constitution, under the various laws that are there, we have a right to information. So when you hear that bonuses have been declared, for example, for sugarcane of 150 million, without causing any alarm, you have the right of just asking your leader, can we know on the basis of what financial report are you declaring the bonuses? Because you are coming to our region midway in the financial year, and bonuses are being declared. I thought bonuses are the end of the financial year when profits have been declared, expenses have been removed, and then you have bonuses. So such information will actually make now this leader to come up with better communication the next time they are coming, and maybe if they are cunning, they will find now actually some of the real ways of approaching our our issues. And now once you are informed of opposition, you should also know that you have a right to, for example, recall some of these leaders. Okay. When you sit there and you see that this one is not working, proceed and do it. And proceed even further. If you want to remove that person based on corruption cases, you have all these institutions available, EACC and everything. Go there and complain and say we are seeing some development going on here. We are told it's 200 million. And we don't understand what is the 200 million in this thing. And now the EACC will find that other route. But at the end of the day, let's just know that all of us have that obligation. It is from that obligation that will nurture now the proper leaders to govern us.
You see, when we talk about, you see, people fear courts. People fear processes. Yeah. Most of our people, even those who are watching you now, they don't like processes. Okay. They've been in those meetings where politicians have inspired 7 people to sit in a hall of 1,000 people. So the 7 people are spread in the hall. And he knows where they are. Yeah? So when he stands and asks for an opinion, Abuko nyuma, hey, wewe, shati ya red. You see, you are standing to talk about what he asks you to actually present. Hapo mbele wewe, hapo mbele wewe mama, mmeachia wapi vijana mko wapi oye? That is what we see when there is a popular uprising against a leader. You'll actually come to respond to the people, but in which way do they respond? In their own way. Exactly. Where they will, you see, then you go away wondering what you wanted to do with this guy we have not done. Who is this that was supporting the same leader we didn't want to continue like this? So the question is, are we likely to see this change, or we are never going to see this change at all? For me, day in, day out, I see we are likely to see that change. What should be an encouragement to everyone? We have no reason of delaying that change, so that we need to push it to come even earlier than if we just sat back and let everything to proceed. And with the kind of mechanism that the Constitution has brought us, you don't even need to fear the courts, because I have like clients whom, on behalf of 50 million Kenyans, they petition the courts, for example, to challenge the issue about microfinances charging interest rate that is double the principal. That one is one person on behalf of the whole country. So that if amongst you have one coward person who has an idea, let that coward person pass it to the courageous one, or the wealthy one who is able to maybe afford the money bags. Exactly. And then you through such mechanisms, you go to court, you say that this thing that has been going on is unconstitutional, and we have seen that's how the finance bill was rectified, because now you cannot say it was quashed because now it came back again. So through such mechanism, citizens should actually be aware that it is not a favor that they're getting from their leaders. It is their right. It is that simple 1 liter of fuel that a boda rider will fuel his motorbike is what now the 50-something% will go to government, for them to be flying around with choppers and everything. So it's you to ask those simple questions. It is not necessary by going to the streets. You have all this mechanism, and one of the powerful one is now every 5th year for you to say that I don't want you. I want someone who to stand in your place. Well, if you don't get abducted, that is. Whoa. We've just come to the end of the show, but I want you to look at, just summarize it up. Away from legal approach, what any social mechanism that we can be able to explore, and then your final message to the viewers.
Okay. Okay. So for me, I think we let's choose this to be the right time, and let's also choose for us to have the right leaders, because the potential of Western Kenya is just unimaginable, and we cannot be the people who will be told about we have the numbers, but that number is only limited to our population. And that also says a lot about us as a region, when someone only talks about us in terms of population, and when they want to extract our resources for it to be added value elsewhere, and for our people to follow up to those places and be watchmen of those investments. So I think it is time for us to really interrogate those issues. When you're told that the president is coming next week to give you bonuses, ask more questions. It's not enough to just celebrate and say thank you. Ask more questions, because now maybe half of the bonuses are still being retained somewhere to furnish the offices of the Kenya Sugar Board. So if you ask questions, they will know that they are supposed to bring the entire bonuses to the region. When it gets here, if there is a declared profits of Mumia Sugar that is going to government, ask those questions. It's going to government to be used in what way to enrich the sugar sector or any economic activity in the region. So when we have such a conversation, I think as a region we are blessed. We are blessed, and that's why we are the only region that we have acquired a good name of being the breadbasket of the country. I bet now that we are seeing some
the bottom is
yes, it's an invention of, maybe there are so many rats now with where we are keeping the basket. But we need to rethink. Let's look at things like the housing plan that the national government has in the context of us as a region, because as much as the government will want to remove everyone from the rural areas to the townships, let them have a conversation with us about how are we going to understand how to remove you who has been used to staying with your grandparents in the same compound to now move away to the township to create area for agriculture. Those conversations is what we need right now,
because when you move me from my farm, I will start wondering who is taking over my farm. Is it someone from the other side? Or and there are cultural issues. We don't move to go south. We move going up. So what will happen to the cities on the south? So there are those there are many other questions. But before I let you go, I want you to just 1 minute tell the viewer what you think he or she should do as they're watching you, because you've laid it to them that they have a bigger responsibility in the failure of our community, because we keep on singing songs to the elected leaders. Forget about church leaders, high school heads. We don't talk about them because they actually get money from us. We pay school fees for kids, we pay offerings in church. So we don't look at them as change leaders. We actually look at those we elected with a promise that they'll give us money. But as they are watching you right now, what responsibility do they have? They have a great responsibility, as you've said. But what responsibility do they have?
Exactly.
And then we conclude that.
Okay. For me, I'll just encourage them to know that when you are moved to discuss personalities and not issues when it comes to our politics, our viewers should know that actually that's a trap. it is a trap to make them, go around that roundabout that have been for the last 50 years. So that my best approach for starters is actually have a conversation beyond personalities and beyond parties.
Yes.
Let's get to the ballot box, and if you get your issues addressed by a particular person,
yes,
you can vote that person with the party, but don't go to the ballot to vote for that person based on the party first, and then you start interrogating the issues for the next 5 years. Like right now, like the biggest conversation that's going on about the issue about Kenya and the EU seat. It's a conversation that we ought to have had before election. We put all these people to the stand and interrogate them. What is your foreign relations policy? Where do you want to carry? Because on one side you are as a potential candidate for presidency, you are telling us that you are supporting Israel. Why is it that you are choosing Israel over Palestine? Is it likely to compromise our opportunity which is coming next for us to have a seat at the EU? You have a conversation about our involvement with the DRC. So such a conversation, when we have it prior to an election, it makes things easier to hold someone accountable. Because right now, I think the people with the toughest time are now the analysts. They don't understand. They will not understand what is going on.
They cannot interpret. They cannot guide. Whoa. Let's end there. My director will be raising a red flag very many times. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Morning Scoop. This is where it begins. I encourage you to continue this conversation. This show runs live on YouTube. Please, when you're there, leave a comment, leave a message to us, and we'll be glad to just respond to them in our future shows. As I told you, this show is sponsored by JFC Munene College of Health Sciences. Please, if you want a future that you can talk about and you are happy with, go to the website www.jfccollege.ac.ke. Make a call 0700-114-115, 0703-114-115, 0705-114-115. The principal is waiting to hear from you and guide you on the steps you need to take to get an admission to that college. It's going to help you and your child for the future. Be blessed. On behalf of Calvin Kibet, who is directing this show, I just want to say thank you for watching, and let's meet again next week on the Morning Scoop, where everything else starts. This is CKS.
The Morning Scoop is sponsored by JFC Munene College of Health Sciences.
West TV, tazama ilivyo.
Welcome to JFC Munene Colleges, where education meets innovation. Our mission is to provide our students with a world-class education that prepares them for the future. We offer theater technology, orthopedic technology, mortuary science, science lab technology, counseling psychology. At the College of Business Technology, we offer hospitality, business and accountancy, fashion and design. We are not just preparing our students for the future, we are shaping it. Come join us at JFC Munene College of Health Sciences, where the possibilities are endless.